Welcome to the Slow Living Collective podcast. I'm Amy, wife, mother of two and devoted homemaker. Join me on this journey as we explore the beauty of slow and simple living, where life unfolds at its own unhurried pace. I'll take you through my experiences of slowing down, tending to our allotment plot, finding joy in the little things and making the most of our small home. Together we'll learn to live in harmony with the ever-changing seasons, discovering the magic that lies in embracing the present moment. So let's embark on this enriching adventure towards a more intentional and fulfilling life. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Slow Living Collective podcast. I'm Amy, and today I have some exciting news for you guys, and it's an episode I have been wanting to do for a while, and I'm so glad I can finally announce it. So stay with me, because this episode is going to be about a big change in the Slow Living Collective, and something that is going to change the shape of this entire year. So I am so excited. Let's dive into it and find out what that big news is. Are you looking for a delicious way to live a more sustainable and mindful life? Look no further, because I've got something special just for you. Introducing Riverford Organic, your gateway to fresh organic fruit and vegetable boxes delivered right to your doorstep. When you choose Riverford, you're not just eating organic, you're supporting an ethical business that believes in food that's good for the planet and your well-being. Eating organic means you're savouring food grown with care, free from harmful chemicals and absolutely bursting with flavour. By choosing Riverford, you're supporting a business that is committed to sustainability, is employee owned and passionate about reducing food waste. Embrace the seasons with a rotating variety of fruit and vegetables, fresh, local and in harmony with nature. Riverford has been a game changer for our family, and I think it could be for yours too. There is nothing more exciting for me than grabbing my Riverford box off my doorstep on delivery day. But there's more. As a treat for you guys, you can enjoy a £15 credit towards your second order. Simply sign up at theslowlivingcollective.com/Riverford to claim your credit and start your journey towards healthier, ethical and more seasonal eating. Everyday life is relentless. It is busy, it is bright, it is fast, it is always switched on. It is hustle, it is bustle, and modern society has this intention of keeping us busy, keeping us quote unquote focused, keeping us working ourselves to the grindstone. And we find ourselves really caught in this whirlwind of constant demands, information overload, and expectations that are absolutely sky high. And that is what defines this modern era. There's a pressure to keep up, to stay informed, to excel in all these different aspects of our lives. People have fear of missing out. They feel like they're not good enough. They go on social media and feel like they're comparing themselves all the time. And this has never been more palpable in our lives than it is now. Our days are just marked by this incessant barrage of news, of tasks, of deadlines, of commitments. And it can leave us feeling so overwhelmed and stretched so thin. We take on so much. We take on our own worries, we take on the worries of the world, and it can be a lot. And technology obviously is wonderful, but it does contribute to this unending stream of updates, of notifications, and it just amplifies this sense of information overload. Now, if you're anything like me, then you switched notifications off a long time ago. Pretty much the only notifications I have on my phone these days are text messages and phone calls. Everything else is switched off or muted, and that's just a way to protect my peace. And if you haven't done that, I definitely recommend it. There is nothing in this world that is urgent. There is no Instagram message that needs answering right now. There is no email that needs answering right now. I have the things switched on that are urgent and important, and everything else can go by the wayside. And I think that's a really important boundary to set. So there is this feeling often of chaos and the expectation to multitask, to have lists. It's become the norm and a skill that we're expected to just master and just put up with. And I don't know. This was once seen as like the peak of productivity, when we could handle all these multiple responsibilities and multiple things we need to do simultaneously. But what has happened is it has evolved into this constant source of stress. And the pressure to multitask not only divides our attention, but also takes this massive toll on our mental well-being as well. And I don't know, this attempt to like balance everything simultaneously, for me, just heightens my stress levels. It decreases my focus overall, doesn't make me that productive. Like, hands up if you've ever put something on your to-do list that you've already done just so you have the joy of crossing it out. And ultimately, these things can eventually, when we live at this level constantly, it just leads to burnout. We have this phase where we are maybe on, but eventually we have a phase where we're like, okay, this has been too much. I'm checking out of this. And I find that in my life, in my business, just everywhere. And we're trying to do all of these things and also striving to maintain a balance. And it is so difficult. And a lot of that comes from the fact that this isn't the way we were supposed to live. This isn't what is most natural to us. This is the way modern society has evolved, and for their benefit and not for ours. And when I say their benefit, I mean, the productivity in the workplace. And, I'm not saying that we're not productive in the workplace, but there are better ways of focusing it. Many workplaces, I understand that there has to be a level of people being there to do the job at all times in some professions, and then in other professions not so much. But we are stuck in this mindset of that you are paid X amount of money and you are there from 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock or whatever your working hours are, and you take your 1 hour for lunch, and your boss feels like as long as you are there physically sitting in the building at your desk, whether you're doing work or not, right, they are getting their money's worth out of you. Rather than viewing it in a way, which there are companies that are moving towards this, that actually when you give people a little more freedom, they can actually perform much better. This is evident in trials of a 4-day work week, for example. Most of the companies that trialled the 4-day work week kept it, and only a small number went back to a 5-day work week. And it just goes to show that actually the 5 days doesn't necessarily work in most, let's say, office-based situations, right? Because having somebody there for 4 days, if a 4-day work week actually works, that means having people there for 5 days, there is a lot of time wasted. And when you can give people that freedom to have a better balance in their personal lives, they will be more productive in their work life as well. And, we are constantly navigating this breakneck speed of society. And I think it's really crucial to confront the toll that living this fast-paced existence really exacts on our mental health and our physical well-being as well, because we are under this unrelenting pressure, whether we realize it or not, to keep up with the pace and rhythm of life. And it's no good for us. Our mental health bears the brunt of it. We have stress, we have anxiety, we eventually end up in burnout. And this rush just leaves such little room for us to rest and recover. And I'm a big proponent of living with the seasons, and that's because when you actually tune into the seasons and tune into the very core of who we are and who we were actually designed to be, living naturally with the seasons is the way we lived for however long we've been here, right? And not living with the seasons is a relatively new concept. And I always feel strange when I talk about like modern society, or I talk about like living ancestrally, and it's not necessarily about that, I completely disregard the advances that society has made, but as with anything, there is good and there is bad. And I think that disconnecting ourselves from who we have always been, living with the seasons, and everything that encompasses, and being more connected with nature, it is just taking us further and further away. Now, I am never going to argue the point that there aren't great advances in modern society. Like, you won't see me giving up my dishwasher anytime soon, as an example. But the importance I find is connecting with who we are and who we are truly meant to be. And I think the fast-paced living of modern society is just disconnecting us more and more. It is normal to feel tired and restful and need just quietness and hibernation throughout the winter. That is normal. It is completely normal. Think about it this way. You have this, natural ability to live with the cycle of the day, of the month, of the year, of the seasons. And you cannot produce the same level of productivity all day, every day, for 365/6 days of the year, right? So we are encouraged to live as if it's an eternal spring or an eternal summer. We are expected to live with that feeling of high levels of productivity. And when we struggle throughout the winter, it is only natural that we feel like we need more rest. There is less daylight hours. We are getting less vitamin D. It is much more difficult for us. Now, historically, our ancestors would have always risen with the sun and retired with the sun. Now, that is not how we live, right? And we try and do that as much as possible, but also retiring with the sun in the winter in the northern hemisphere in the UK, it's like we're done at what starts to get dark around these parts by like 3 o'clock. So that's okay, maybe that's not quite possible. But then you've also got the flip side of that throughout the summer months, the sun is rising at like 3:30 in the morning. I'm equally not getting up then, and setting somewhere around 10 p.m. So we have these wide fluctuations in our day, and obviously the difference between, let's take winter solstice, where we have something like 7 hours of sunlight in the winter, compared to summer solstice, where we have I don't even know, a huge amount of hours of sunlight. 15? I don't know. And of course that's going to have a different impact on our bodies, because we are getting different levels of vitamin D. There is a lot different to living with minimal daylight and then living with a lot of daylight. I mean, you only have to ask people that live in sort of like the extreme north, let's say, within the Arctic Circle, that go through periods of maybe 3 to 4 months of a polar night, but then also on the flip side of that, through the summer, go through the same period of time as with a polar day. So they have this period of where the sun doesn't rise at all, and then they have this period where the sun doesn't set at all, and it produces a different sense of well-being in those extremes. And most of us don't live in those extremes, right? But we can take a lot of guidance from that, in that a time of darkness, whether it's a complete darkness of polar night or just the darkness of winter, is a time for coziness. It is a time for rest. It's a time for relaxation. It's a time to hibernate. You only have to look outside and see what nature is doing throughout the winter. Nature is hibernating. The trees have lost their leaves and they are in a dormant state before spring arrives. there are many animals that are hibernating. They have bedded down for the winter. They will surface again in the spring. And these things, when you look and really tune into the cyclical nature of life, you realize how far removed we are from that. You know, we live in a world that, like I said, expects us to have this constant, always on, eternal spring and summer mindset, and we are just not naturally like that. And because we ebb and flow with the seasons, whether we choose to or not. So when I talk about seasonal living, it's not about doing anything new. It's just tapping into the ideas of that and tapping into what is already there that we might just need help getting back to, because we already feel it. We already feel more tired in the winter. We already feel that we need to be more restful, that we don't want to make as many plans, that we want to bed down, we want to hibernate, want to feel cozy. We want low level lighting, twinkly lights. We want to blankets and soft furnishings and to just be cozy. That's normal. And I'm not saying, you know, our caveman ancestors were bedding down with twinkly lights and, you know, soft furnishings, but it has always been there. That way we live is just adapting into a more modern concept, and I do it and you do it and everybody does it, whether we realize that or not. And so modern society is taking the physical toll now of this accelerated lifestyle, and we, you know, parts of that is, you know, we are fatigued. We might not be able to sleep so well. We have compromised immune systems. We suffer with mental health issues, stress, anxiety, burnout, all of the things I've already mentioned. But so many people have this collective desire to live a more balanced and intentional life, because I think for the longest time we have just grown up, you know, if you're my age, I'm in my late 30s, we have grown up with this idea of busy, of hustle, of always being switched on. We have grown up in an age that saw the evolution of mobile phones, of technology, of social media. You know, our life from when we were 5 years old to now, life is so different. And I think more and more people, millennials, I think a real lot, but this does cover everybody, is stepping back and saying, like, okay, we've lived this way for X amount of years, and you know what? It's not working for me. And there is this collective desire to find a more balanced way of living, to be more intentional, a longing that prioritizes the quality of our lives over the quantity of what is in it, and where we savor the moments rather than just rush through them. And I think this yearning for balance really represents this pivotal recognition that the current trajectory of modern society is unsustainable, and we cannot continue to live the way we have been living. And I think the pandemic really showed people that, and I think it comes up time and time again in my content, because I really feel like whether it's my own feelings or whether I talk to guests here on the podcast, it is this almost line in the sand, this period of time where people had been, you know, living in this, you know, very rushed way of living. There was little balance, there was a lot of hustle, there was no time to just stop and be. And for many people, when the pandemic hit and we went into, you know, various different lockdowns, and for, you know, the best part of 18 months, life was not normal in the terms of what we had been used to. And when you strip it all away, when you stripped everything back, and it was just this focus on, and this sounds a bit over the top, because, you know, most of us were living in a very nice, you know, way. You know, it was just different. You know, there was a lot of gratitude. I know I had a lot of gratitude at the time around, you know, I am safe, I have a nice home, I am comfortable, we can order our food shop online. Like, these things were not, it was a difficult time, but I had a lot of gratitude for my lifestyle within that. But for so many people, it's this line in the sand where everything was stripped back and we had this, all we had to do was survive with the bare minimum. And, maybe that might have looked like not going out to work anymore and working from home. Maybe that looked like switching from buying your groceries physically in person to switching to online. If you did go out in person, the idea of your getting your groceries was like a queuing, and it was just different, wasn't it? And it's this line in the sand, like I keep saying, where once that period of instability had passed, there was a lot of talk about getting back to normal. We want to get back to normal, let's get back to normal. And for so many people, I think they had this really intense period of time. We all had this really intense period of time, and then when it was said, we're going to start getting back to normal, lots of people were like, but I don't know that I want to go back to the normal that there was before. And it wasn't about staying put in that period of instability, but instead it was more, I think, about just coming back to the idea that what went before, it wasn't perfect, and people had learned a lot in that period of time about what they wanted and what they didn't want. And I know for me personally, when there was all this talk about getting back to normal, it was just like, I don't know that I want to get back to that. I don't know that that's going to work for me. And there has been this period since, obviously, where things have gone back to normal, and I don't regret any of that at all. It's nice to be able to live a free life again, but there are many aspects of that I have not gone back to. And I think many people either felt the same way at the time, or now, after having this period where life has gone back to normal and they've fallen back into those old routines, people are actually like, oh God, like, this was awful. I mean, I've even seen people like, oh, do you remember lockdown? Like, that was so great. We didn't have anywhere to go. There was no pressure on us. And it just goes to show that when you strip it all back, when you strip everything back to its bare minimum, that's where we find our joy, in the slowness and in the simplicity. And I think this yearning for slowing down and finding simplicity in our lives has just highlighted how unsustainable this fast-paced life has been, and that we cannot continue, like I said, on this current trajectory, because more and more people are desiring that shift to a more intentional way of living. And slow and simple living is that transformative solution almost in people's lives, because this shift invites us to reconsider the foundations upon which our fast-paced lives have been built. And I think most of us have spent many, many, many years, decades in fact, being part of this fast-paced society. And slowing down really encourages us to embrace a lifestyle that really embraces the values of unhurried, meaningful and deliberate. And it's not just this big departure from the chaotic norm of life. It's more an intentional choice to reclaim control over our time. It's an intentional choice to reconnect with what truly matters to us, to be more in alignment with ourselves, who we are as people, and who we have always been as human beings. Like I said about seasonal living, this is not some far out, way out there idea. This is just connecting with who we are and who we have always been. Nothing has changed, nothing has gone away, but modern society has had us suppress who we naturally are and who we were naturally designed to be. So this is an intentional choice to reclaim that and just forge this new path towards a more fulfilling future. And I just want to invite all of you on this journey to find a more intentional way of living and the pursuit of a slower, simpler, and more intentional life. And in this exploration into being more intentional, into finding ways to slow down, to simplify our lives, and to just reconnect and be more in alignment, like I said, with who we are, who we've always been, and who we were made to be as human beings. And I have exciting news, like I said at the beginning of this episode, and I've waffled on for 20 minutes before I even tell you what it is. And so I want to announce for the very first time, although you might have seen that I have mentioned it a little bit. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen me drop some little hints. If you've follow my Substack or my newsletter, you might have seen it there as well. But I am beyond thrilled to finally spill the beans on something that I have been so passionately working on for the past 18 months. And that is the Slow Living Collective membership community. So if you caught a sneak peek in last week's email, or you've already seen me talking about it on social media, then you already know the excitement I'm talking about. And so I want to share with you about my membership and why I decided to create this simple living community, because the doors are now officially open and I am welcoming new members into the membership. And I think the most exciting thing about it is it's all happening on Substack, which means that you can get all of the good stuff for the membership directly into your inbox, completely hassle-free. And I have ummed and ahed with various ideas and various iterations of how this membership would firstly work and what it would look like. I have made more attempts at making a membership website than I think I did anything else in the last 18 months. And I could never really find exactly what I was looking for. I wanted a space where I could create written content, audio content, maybe video content. We'll see where we go. And then, continue to produce the resources and just share in one place where people are able to comment, and there is a more community vibe there. And when I found Substack, I felt like it was everything that I was looking for, because it gave me the opportunity to continue to offer my free content, which I'll get to in just a minute, but also have the option that people could also tune in to a paid version as well. And I love the idea of Substack because you can access it in so many different ways. Once you are a subscriber, whether free or paid, everything will end up straight in your inbox. You don't even have to go anywhere if you don't want to. Now, you can also view it on a website, whether that be from your browser on your computer or your phone. You can also download the Substack app if you want to do it through there, but you don't have to do any of that. It can land straight in your inbox. So all of the good stuff is right there in a real simple and personal environment. And I think that is what spoke to me the most, that we can have this membership that doesn't require you to do anything extra. It is the epitome of slow and simple and intentional. You can engage when you want and disengage when you want. It can show up in your inbox. You can star it for later. And you don't have to physically do anything to find the content. There's no additional logging in other than the first time that you subscribe, and there's nothing more than that. And that's what I love. So I feel like it's a good choice for the kind of community that I'm looking to create. And, like I said, it's been a long time coming and it's been a complete labour of love, but I am so excited to share it with you, what it's going to look like, and I guess a little insight into why I decided. So, why a paid community? And I think it's really important that I address the elephant in the room of adding in the paid element to my content. So for a really long time, I've yearned for something more, and more community, deeper connections, and a space to engage with people who are on the exact same path as I am. Whether that be people who are just curious and at the beginning of their journey, people who are, evolving through it, just a connection with people that have the same values. And this longing is what originally gave birth to the Slow Living Collective, first and foremost. And now I am more eager than ever to delve into the collective aspect of this mission. And it's a space where I'll be able to explore more profoundly, connect more with individuals who share my thoughts and feelings, and just learn and grow on this path together. And that's what I want for the community. It might be me creating the content, but I want the people that are part of it to feel like it's their community, and nobody is, everybody's on equal footing. But it's just a chance to offer support and inspiration for those beginning their journeys, because we're all beginners once, but also those who are walking that path already. And I think this all comes from my inclination to resist societal norms, and this has only grown stronger over time. And the more I learn and evolve, the more I find this deep solace in stepping away from the rat race as much as possible and finding something else outside the monotony of modern societal living. And I've come to realise there is such power in simplicity. When I am truly in alignment with myself, it is what is most uplifting, and I think it's what so many of us seek. And like I said, I think so many of us have been searching for and have this desire to just slow down, to simplify, to find the spaces between the noise. And I think that creating this community, I really hope, will be that place. I think, so many people are, in the weeds of taking their first steps on this path. And other people like myself have been here for a while, but we all are sharing the same common intention, the same feelings, the same ideas. But it is also a unique journey to each and every one of us. It's not something that I feel can be taught in a this is how you do it, but more shared in a collective way. Tips, tricks, ideas, thoughts, deep dives into just thoughts and feelings about the whole process, because the journey is completely unique and each of our lives look different now. Each of our lives will look different when we start to embrace slow and simple living. So it's really about finding intention. And instead of dedicating our lives to hustle or grind, it's just filling our lives with pockets of simplicity. Each of those defined in our own unique way, because we do have different lives, and we can't just, we have different responsibilities as well. Responsibilities that we don't just get to say, well, that doesn't align with my life, so out it goes. A common question I often get is, people that feel like they're stuck in a job that is very focused on, hustle and grind, but it's not as simple as being like, well, I'm just not going to do that anymore. We've got food to put on the table, roofs to keep over our heads, bills to pay. And so while we have these essential parts of our life that, can't necessarily be changed or can't necessarily be changed just like that, it's about finding those pockets of simplicity around those. So why a membership? This decision has honestly been such a careful one for me, and something that I have contemplated a lot, and because I really did question, is it the right path? And I guess I just experimented with various approaches, and I have definitely learned lots about what didn't align with my vision. So therefore, when I found what did, it made a lot of sense. And like I said, the way I'm going to run the membership via Substack is, I feel like it's the perfect space. It it brought me a lot of comfort. The accessibility to it is effortless. It is a place where everything I offer is within reach, whether it's on your phone, through the app, in your inbox. It feeds into that simplicity. It is simple. It is slow. It's built on words and it's built on community. And it feels like the right choice. Now, I've been on social media for so many years. In my previous working life, I worked in marketing, social media management, being a personal brand strategist. Like, I have been on social media, and it's an okay platform. It's fine for sharing, right? But it doesn't offer the depth in what I aspire to share. It is a shared space. It is subject to the ebb and flow of followers, of algorithms, and it's owned by someone else. It's a starting point, but it's not a space for delving into the more meaningful topics that resonate. And I think that's why I feel so comfortable with where I have decided to grow this membership. But also there is the point, I suppose, of charging for my content. And believe me, I had a lot of initial discomfort in that. And I had to really take a moment to sit with myself and understand why I felt uncomfortable about that. And I realized that, asking for payment for my work is not just acceptable, but it's also necessary. For over nearly 2 decades, I have contributed free content on the internet. That is guides, resources, blog posts, ebooks, podcasts, articles. I have shared so abundantly without ever asking for payment. I provide everything needed for embracing a slower, simpler, more intentional life. But now I yearn to go deeper in that. And there is so truly nothing wrong with valuing my work, and I know that it's time to advocate for myself better and advocate for the hard work that I have invested into the Slow Living Collective, both online and offline. And when I think about some of the waves I'm making offline in my local community in terms of the Slow Living Collective, I wouldn't think twice about charging for that. And so it is time for me to advocate for myself. And this membership is going to allow me to delve more profoundly into my work, from slow living, simple living, seasonal living, yoga, mindfulness, meditation, holistic well-being. And it is a step that empowers both you and me to walk this path of simplicity, authenticity, and just be more intentional. And I hope that it's something that we can do together as well. So what is included in the Slow Living Collective membership? Well, first and foremost, I think it's really crucial to emphasize that there will be absolutely no changes to my free content at all. I will continue to write weekly on topics related to slow, simple and intentional living, holistic well-being, all of the things that I always do. I will continue to create free resources, guides, and my content will still be here to assist you on your journey to simplicity. And I recognise that additional paid content is not going to fit everyone's budget. So my commitment to my free content will continue, and nothing will change. Nothing will change at all. My podcast will still be free to access. My content will still be free to access. My free resources and guides, everything will still be free to access. If you don't join the paid membership, you won't see it change. But the membership is an opportunity for me to delve deeper and to forge stronger connections and help you find support on your journey from both me and fellow members as well. Because this world rushes by and it leaves so many of us feeling overwhelmed and disconnected. And I hope that this community will stand as a sanctuary where you can really feel at ease with diving deeper into the path of slow living and embracing simplicity, where we can explore more profound topics related to slow living, simplicity, intentionality, where we can all connect with like-minded individuals who are sharing our values and provide each other support as well. And I hope it will be a place where we can learn from the experts in the fields of slow living, of mindfulness, intentional living. I hope that we can create a space that just feels natural and just helps us find alignment with ourselves and apply the things in there to the uniqueness of our own lives. Like I said, it's not about learning something and then having to apply it to the letter. It is just finding a way that fits with our own unique lives. And so there will be access to exclusive additional resources, workshops, and additional content which will help you with your journey to simplicity. And I intend to also add more yogic and mindful living to add to your journey as well. There will be premium monthly podcast episodes, and there will be also a monthly simplicity circle for paid members, which will be live, but recordings will be available shortly after. And there will be much more over time as well, because I intend for the Slow Living Collective to not just be a community, but a place where those of us who are seeking a calmer and more meaningful existence can just coexist. And hope that it will be a place of encouragement and provide you with the knowledge to help you make those lasting changes in your own life. So just a recap on what you can expect from the Slow Living Collective membership. There will be members only insiders podcast episodes monthly. There will be members only posts weekly. There will be access to exclusive workshops, webinars, etc. throughout the year. There's a dedicated chat for paid members. There will be discounts on my other courses and workshops. And there will be additional resources, guides, ebooks, etc., etc. So there is going to be so much, and I'm looking forward to growing the membership and just watching it evolve throughout 2024. And the Slow Living Collective membership is going to be a sanctuary for those of us who just desire a more serene and purposeful lifestyle. It is going to be a welcoming and supportive environment where members are going to be able to uncover the art of slowing down, simplifying their lives, and just discovering meaning in every moment. And like I said, there's going to be exclusive resources, workshops, posts, podcasts, and I hope this will help you lead the purposeful life that you're looking for, that it'll help you cultivate mindfulness and attune you to the rhythm of the seasons, and just get back to who you were meant to be and who you naturally are. It's there. It is right there. We just are kind of taught to dismiss it. So I'm looking forward to cultivating this space with simplicity, and just enriching our lives, because the ultimate goal for the membership is just to create this nurturing space where we all feel held and supported on our journey. So whether you opt for the paid membership or you join me there as a free subscriber, because that is possible too, rest assured that my commitment to providing the free content does remain unchanged. And I'm just so grateful to each and every one of you for all of your support here on the podcast, on my Instagram, and over on Substack, which is, my mailing list as well. So I am looking forward to welcoming you into the membership. Now, I know people will have questions on the price. I've kept it pretty low. So, it's more about just having a small amount, or a small cost, let's say, to be able to do the additional things that I really want to do. So there are two options for payment. You can pay monthly, like a rolling monthly thing, or you can pay annually. That is also a rolling thing until you cancel. So, and you can also join for free. So with the free membership, that's obviously no payment, and you will have access to weekly posts and any free guides, etc., that I create. Obviously there's the podcast is free. Like I said, all of my free content will not change. If you join as a monthly paying member, that will cost £4.99 a month. And that will give you everything that you get for free. And you will also get an additional weekly post, specifically for paid members, and posts will focus on tangible tips to help you curate and embrace the slow and simple life that you desire. You'll have obviously access to the paid community. There will be the premium podcast episodes, monthly simplicity circle, and all additional paid resources will be there as well. The annual one is exactly the same content. It is just 16% cheaper than subscribing monthly. So you will pay £50 a year annually. So that actually works out as £4.17 a month rather than £4.99 a month. Whatever works financially is, what works best for you. So there's the free, £4.99 a month, or £50 a month. If you want to join me in the membership, whether you want to join as a free member or a paid member, all you need to do is head to theslowlivingcollective.com/membership. That's theslowlivingcollective.com/membership, and that will take you straight to the membership subscription page, and you can decide there whether you want to join with the monthly or the annual fee, or whether you want to join as a free subscriber. And yeah, I just look forward to seeing you there, whether you join the paid membership or the free membership. I'm really looking forward to just getting into slow and simple living even more over the coming year. So I want to thank you for all of your support. Because I am so grateful to each and every one of you. Just seeing this podcast grow all the time just absolutely warms my heart. And so I am incredibly grateful to each and every one of you, and I really look forward to seeing you over in the membership and just exploring more of simple living with each and every one of you in 2024. So yeah, head over to theslowlivingcollective.com/membership and pick your membership level. I cannot wait to see you guys over there. It is going to be the place where I show up the most outside of this podcast. I definitely feel like I'm going to rein back social media a little this year. I intend to do an episode on that once I have figured out how I am going to play social media this year. So thank you guys for listening to me today. I hope what I spoke about resonated with you. I look forward to welcoming you over in the membership really, really soon. So thank you for listening to today's episode. I am so grateful to have you here, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to kicking off this membership and seeing all of you over there and just really delving into slow and simple living. You can find me as always over on Instagram. My Instagram username is @theslowlivingcollective. You can also follow this podcast over on Instagram, which is @theslowlivingcollectivepod. You can follow me on my blog, which is theslowlivingcollective.com. And you can of course follow me over on the new membership site, and that is theslowlivingcollective.com/membership, and that will link you straight over to Substack, which is where the membership is hosted. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you again for all of your support, and until next time, I will catch you in the next episode.